Okie dokie, artichoke. Hey y'all, welcome back. Welcome back to the Chandie Speaks podcast. You can sense my enthusiasm. It's one of those weeks I'm not really in the mood to do it. I'm actually recording this from my bed. I was just about to pass out. I've been tired. I've had a lot of just craziness going on at work. Emotionally turbulent week. And I just didn't feel like doing it, but I'm doing it right now. This is going to be a short one. I know the last few weeks I got into a little stride where I had a nice hour-long rant to myself. But I just got off the phone with my very, very good friend, Rochelle. Shout out to Rochelle. She lives in Guyana. And we were actually on the phone for a few hours, almost 3 hours, or maybe 2.5 hours. And yeah, it's, I'm like kind of drained right now. I love her so much. We were actually gonna record, one of our, PG sessions, because we talk about some deep shit. We be unwrapping some shit. I love talking to her. Just got off the phone with her. And we can just talk for hours, and we just be unblocking, uncovering, going deep. And it's so beautiful. And a lot of it is sacred, but we wanted to record. We were actually going to have a session for this episode, which is probably why I'm feeling really drained right now, because I had planned on the part that we had recorded, for this episode to be in this episode, but as you can see, it's not. It's just me talking in circles. Because I guess, no, I'm not that slow person who didn't hit the record button. Okay. I hit the record button, but it didn't catch the audio. It's kind of weird because we have to communicate, through WhatsApp. I know iPhone has like this new cool feature now where I can actually record voice calls. Rather you have an iPhone or not, or maybe, but I'm pretty sure that just because I have the feature on my phone, I can record audio phone calls. And that's what I was trying to do, is just trying to get like a nice, one of our good sessions on here. And but I have to communicate with her through WhatsApp because she lives in another country and the communication is just different. And of course she doesn't have an iPhone, not everyone can afford $1,000 phone. Hell, I can't even afford it. I'm still paying for this bitch. And so we've been trying to figure out ways on how to get a recording session, because we just get into it. And I just love, like, being able to share, people being able to listen to just good dialogue back and forth between people who love each other and care about each other. And I should have done it while I was in Guyana, God damn it. And I know I talked about this on my on a different episode on Vanlife Diaries, that, like, man, we had many conversations in person, and I'm like, I probably won't be able to see her in person again. So for us to, like, I guess, for me to be able to share part of that with you guys, I got to figure out how to record these phone calls between an iPhone and a WhatsApp. It's a work in progress, but I'm feeling kind of drained right now. I don't feel like doing this shit, real talk. So let's just get into it. That was the intro. We're going into the podcast. Bummed out that I don't have that recording. We were talking for hours and touched on a lot of different topics. I guess I can touch on some topics. One of the topics were, do I want to get into this right now? Well, it's like a cultural difference. We were talking about our cultural differences between, like, just how people just treat the elderly or family in general, I think, in Guyana versus America. And she was, we were going to show it anyway. I'm not trying to give all of her business away or not give all the good tea, but yeah, she was seeing a guy, long story short, who he introduced her to his parents, and they didn't like her. So and because of that, like, it led to their, them breaking up and separating. And she was kind of bummed out about it. And I don't know. I was talking about like how like yeah, I don't think it's really different here, I think. Or at least from the way, maybe it's just like how you were raised, but if my mom or my dad didn't like who I was dating, which has happened before, it wouldn't stop me from dating them. Maybe it's different for men and women, but I feel like, he's a man. He should, at some point, he's an adult man. He should, at one point, should separate from his parents and do his own thing. And if he really wants to be with her, then, he should grow a pair and tell his parents to fucking suck it respectfully, in the most respectful way. But so we were talking about a lot of stuff, culture differences. I'm not going to rehash it because, like I said, my head's kind of spinning right now. Let me see. Let me get into some things. Oh, my settlement money came, you guys. Oh, my God. Not that much money, but it came. I'm officially settled with this. I got into a car accident in Topeka, Kansas. Y'all heard this story like 3 or 4 times by now. And they paid me $275 to fix my taillight. The cover, the whole like cell needed to be replaced. So yeah, that happened this past week. I had to go to Caliber Collision to get the estimate. Shout out to Caliber Collision. Just all of them, really good company. They have really good reviews. Highly recommend. They're very to the point, and they didn't try and lowball. Like they tried to give me a fair estimate, and I appreciate them. 275 bones. Y'all already know that money is already spent. No, that that did not go to my taillight, obviously. It's already spent. I had bills and shit. I got a lot of shit going on right now. Things that I'm actually kind of not really wanting to discuss it at this time, to be honest, because I know I'm going to post this episode tomorrow. What day is it? I don't even know what fucking day it is. It's Tuesday today. It's like 7:45 at night. And I got a long week ahead of me. So this will go up tomorrow on Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. And I just got a lot of stuff. So I think by next week for sure, I will dish out this, this stuff I'm going through right now. It's kind of making me feel real heavy. And I gotta be kind of just on my square right now. Real big shit. But and I can't even really like go into other things that I want to talk about without going into what it is I need to talk about. Oh my God. Karma, right? Let's talk about karma, right? I had a different conversation with a different friend. I'm not going to say her name because I'm going to tell a little story. We're going to tell a little story. She, bless her heart, really good friend. We used to trim weed together. We used to work in the marijuana industry together in Colorado. She still lives in Colorado. Beautiful woman, okay? A little old school, she's a little older than me. She's like my bigger sister. Well, she got into some altercation. She got into an accident. It was a legitimate accident. She actually recently had surgery on her right leg. Hard-working woman, okay? She's always worked hard. She actually outworked a lot of the young folks when we were trimming together. Hard-working woman. So she recently had surgery on her right leg. And while she was like, I don't know, I think she was advised to not drive. I forgot. It was like a few days ago. I don't remember the full details. I think she was advised to not drive or something, or she was okay to drive, but she needed to drive and couldn't get someone to like drive her. So she had to drive herself, and her right leg slipped off of the gas and slipped off of the brake and hit the gas and rear-ended the person in front of her. She was like pulling out of a parking lot, so she wasn't going pulling out of a parking lot onto a main street and wasn't going fast or anything. No one was hurt. Pulled out of the parking lot and rear-ended someone in front of her. And I don't know why this brought me to karma. This brought me to karma because, okay, so the guy got out. He took her insurance information. It was her fault. But he wouldn't give her his information. I don't know if you're supposed to do that or not. He didn't give her any of his information, his name or anything. He just took her information and then he got in this car, according to her, and then he left. And that she thinks that he was like, I think she was joking, but I think she thinks he was like illegal or trying to avoid the police because the police weren't called. A police report wasn't made. This was like a clear, like, at fault accident. Well, it got me thinking about karma because she's trying to tell the insurance company that, that he hit her and then he ran away. Like it was a hit and run on his part because she, her justification is like, okay, well, I'm already paying too much for car insurance. And I agree. I think it's a scam. Okay. But the thing, okay, it got me thinking about karma. And I told you, and I was like, hey, you got to think about like your karmatic footprint. Okay. Like, and this is a Christian woman, a self-proclaimed Christian woman. Bless her heart and soul. I'm not trying to come down or throw shade. And I did talk to her about it. And, she, in the end, made it justifiable to her. And whatever. I agree. The insurance companies are a fucking scam. But, I'm just like big on like the whole karma thing. Like, it was your fault. Really, like, you gotta, that's what happens when you get into a car. You run the risk of possibly getting into an accident. And supposedly that's what insurance is supposed to be for. And if your rate goes up. So here's the thing with a quick background on her. She's actually been in multiple accidents before. Multiple accidents that were her fault before. So, at one point your karma's going to catch up to you. I ain't throwing any shade. If you're listening, I love you. But that's just what I'm saying. Like, if this was like her very first accident and she's just a little old lady and her leg slipped and, bless her heart. I still I can't really justify, for me, everyone has their own path, but for me, I still wouldn't lie. I'm just not a liar. And I like, especially now in my nice, beautiful, medium, middle age, I like being, taking accountability for myself. But, she's been in multiple accidents before, and that's just your karma catching up to you. Your karma catching up to you, and one day you got to pay the piper. You got to pay for your shit. That's what or as the Christians would say, pay for your sins. So that's just part of driving. You run the risk of getting into an accident. That was kind of a fun story, reminding me of karma. Everything I do is kind of laced with that. I try to keep that. I'm not perfect, but I really fucking try to think about that. Like, am I going to be okay with this coming back around? And I like to believe, I'm going to toot my own horn right now. I like to believe, like, that's why good shit usually happens to me. Not just like bad things not happening to me, because good and bad shit happen, and that's just part of life. But I have less bad shit actually happening to me, and I actually have good things happening, and I believe it's because of what I put out there. I believe it's how I like to believe, like, every decision I make, I like to think about, how is this going to bite me in the fucking ass? Am I okay with how that's going to bite me in the ass? Like I said, I don't make the best decisions every time. But yeah, I sleep really well at night. Okay, let's just say that I I sleep pretty well knowing that I'm doing, like, the worst I'm doing is smoking weed in a completely red state, completely illegal state. That's like the worst thing I do, and that's like on my soul, on everything. Let me see. Maybe I jaywalk from time to time. Maybe. Actually, I've been getting better with that. Let me see. I don't do my taxes, but I think like universally in the big scheme of things, I think that's a fucking bullshit scam too. I don't do taxes. I think my karmatic record is pretty 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝘀, pretty fucking nice, and I take pride in it. So, yeah, man. What else do I gotta talk about? Okay, so the settlement money came. We're just moving right along this boring ass podcast. I got so much shit on my mind that I really want to talk about, but I really can't talk about it right now because, we move in silence around here. And I kind of want to wait until it's a done deal, until I know for sure. So, I asked a Facebook questions this week. I don't have any questions. No one asked questions this week. Granted, I wasn't really doing self-promotion this week. Really kind of low-key, really kind of locked in, is what the kids are saying. Watching myself beat my own ass. Oh my God. I saw this meme and I think it just like resonated with me. It was hilarious. Okay. It was like 5 or 6 kids, right? And there was one kid that was getting his ass beat by this other kid. And then there was 4 other kids in the background, like cheering that kid on. And they were all labeled me. Like each of those boys, they were all like the same boy, but they were all in different positions. And it was me, a bunch of me's, me watching myself kick my own ass and cheer myself on. They were cheering them on. And that's like how fucking just applicable and relevant that is to like everything that I'm feeling right now. It's like, it's as if I'm like cheering myself on while I'm watching myself kick my own ass. Like self-sabotage kind of shit, or just like what the hell? What are you doing that for? I don't really think I have like anything. It was just like, that's probably been the theme this week for me. Once I saw that, I cracked up. I didn't save it, but we were talking about that, me and Ro. Just about how we just sort of block our own blessings, and when we do shit like that, we're just like kicking our own ass, and then we're cheering ourselves on while we do it. Hilarious. So funny. So fucking funny. The internet. That's when the internet is a good place. Internet was fun. Good one. Good one, internet. Okay, let me think. I am only 18 minutes in. God, I'm literally halfway over this. Halfway over. It's going to be a short one this week, folks. Thanks for showing up. Send me your questions. shandyspeaks@gmail.com. Go to my link tree, Grateful Luna 89. Yada, yada, yada. All right, I'm going to get to... Oh, I forgot about this. Man, I heard a song. I work in a kitchen, so anyone that works in the kitchen knows it's like first come, first serve for like the speaker. And I don't know who got the speaker that day, but they were playing a couple days ago 90s songs. So it's time for another segment or the segment. I don't know how to do a segue to this segment. It's called Songs That Hit Different as an Adult. This is where like the theme music would go in if I had like a legitimate setup. But I'm recording this bootleg as fuck from my van. Songs that hit different as an adult. Okay, so whoever had the speaker, I don't even know it, but they were playing all these 90s songs. And 90s songs are just like, man, just in general, like specifically 90s R&B, okay? I'm not coming down. I'm really kind of coming down on the R&B of the 90s. It was not really a good look for us. just as a whole. I think it wasn't really a good for anyone who made the R&B music, who listened to the R&B music. Wasn't really good. Specifically, let's just keep it real, the melanated people in America, and I'm gonna go on a little tangent here. Like, the shit that they were pumping out in the 90s was like borderline like promoting rape, borderline promoting like domestic abuse and violence, and it's mostly promoted towards me, my little melanated young person, easily influenced brain. Okay, and I think that's just sick on all levels, and they still do it today, and it's crazy. And I'm gonna sound like an old person right now. I talk so much shit about, oh God, I don't even want to give them the credit, Sexy Red and fucking all these other bitches. That's the only one I can think of right now who's just like, from what I've heard, the little bit that I've heard, it's just like literal garbage in your ears. I mean that in the most disrespectful way. Like, if that's your favorite artist right now, like, it's literal garbage in your ear. You should not listen to it. You shouldn't have your kids listen to it. It's trash. It's demonic. And then I listened to shit that they played in the 90s, and I'm actually triggered by it. Okay, so this guy was playing 90s R&B songs. Guess what song came on the radio? Nope. I know you guys are probably thinking it's that song, that Ludacris song, you know? Nope. No, it was the thong song, okay? The fucking thong song. That was on airwaves. That was on the radio. That was played multiple times. My mom bought the CD and bumped it in her car. You know, it was played everywhere. I cannot imagine. Like, and people, and I'm so judgmental, and we're all like, and now the kids are saying like, man, you're judging us with Sexy Red, but you had songs called the thong song, okay? And we try and justify it by saying like, oh, but it's different. You know, they're saying all this. No, they weren't saying it. Now I'm actually talking about that other song. You know, that one, My Neck, My Back. That one, that's just like generically just disgusting. Everyone knows that that's just like going to be a disgusting song to the end of time. It doesn't really hit different as an adult. You knew it was going to be fucking gross when you heard it the first time. The thong song definitely hits different now because like we were shaking that. They were promoting sexuality in our children. Like they were selling thongs to children, promoting it. And yeah, I was one of those little girls that was like inspired. Oh my God, bless this conversation. This is dark. This is fucking demonic. Really, R&B music in general, I'm not even going to say R&B music just in general, okay? Because it's really, it's a lot of the music industry. I'm going to get on a little soapbox real quick because it's just kind of a damn shame. It's kind of a damn shame that we're giving our money to these people, and it's not coming back to the people. We all know where it's going. I'm just going to sip on my iced tea, and we're going to leave the conversation there. That could totally be that's a hot topic. But yeah, I remember hearing that the other day, and I almost lost my mind. Like, I almost lost my mind. I was like, why are we listening to this? Why did we listen to this? It's garbage. Respectfully. Crazy. My mom had that CD, and I burned it. She let me burn it. Now I'm bumping the thong song on my Walkman. Okay? For all you young folk, we used to have this thing. It was like a little, fuck it. I'm not going to have the energy to be a fucking smartass this week. Okay? Just Google it. Okay. We're going to get to this question on Facebook. God, really, mainstream music in general is just kind of annoying, okay? It really is kind of fucked up. It's, and I've been, oh my God, I've been actually, on a positive note, I've been actually, like, getting back into my music this past week. Since my last podcast, I've been actually getting back into my writing specifically. I said in the beginning of the year that I was going to have an album by the end of the year, and it's about like halfway done right now. It just needs to be like, the other half has to be written, and then it has to be recorded, and then it would be done. But I just got back into it this past week, and maybe that's another reason why I was so triggered, is because I feel like, and maybe if there's other music people out here, because I feel like I had noticed a trend with other musicians, people who really just sit and they just like, they try and make like, really, they try and come from their heart. They try and like make something that will like change the way someone can think or the way they view things, or like they're speaking from like their heart, and they're putting out like good stuff, and then when they hear like crap, like the thong song or whatever the fuck 𝙭𝗫𝙀 is talking about these days, or whatever these bitches are saying, it just like, it lights a fire in me. It just makes me so mad for some reason, because it's like, why are these people like getting money? Why are these people famous and it's garbage? But when you say something that has any kind of like real, I don't know, like just substance, anything more than just like shaking your ass, then it's like no one listens to it or no one buys it. It doesn't sell. And it's not that it doesn't sell. It's just like, it's not promoted. Or I have to go work that much harder so I can be like an independent or whatever the fucking case. I'm not even trying to be famous. Like, I'm just trying to write from what I feel. But then like after spending so much time with writing, and then like I can't listen to anybody else's music. It sounds like whatever, like I don't care. Conceited, I don't know, but like I can't listen to anyone else's music. Even the so-called good music these days is not really that good. I can't think of someone like, okay, J. Cole. As far as rap goes, really a lot of the rap these days is crap. I haven't listened to most of the music, but J. Cole is like the last person, last of a dying breed is what I like to tell people. The last one who I can think of from like, he was the last real motherfucker to put out real music, and everything after J. Cole has just been trash. I cannot think of anyone who's come after J. Cole. Kendrick's been there probably around the same time as J. Cole, but I don't even think he's, I think J. Cole's better. There, I said it. I don't care. I don't think anyone after J. Cole. I think he's the last one. He's the last of a dying breed. I'll wait. I'll like change my mind, please. Anyway, I got back into my music this week, and I'm really excited to just be writing again, just be putting my feelings, my words, my shit out, and then and making beautiful fucking music, and yeah, and it makes me feel good. It really makes me feel good. It's a good use of my time. It makes me feel good, and yeah, it's good for me. It's good for me. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What else are we going to talk about this week? I'm going to save that. We're just going to get to this Facebook question. We're coming up on a half hour. Thank y'all for bearing with me now. All the way in Georgia. I asked a question last week. Oh, okay. I think what inspired this question was I was talking about loneliness last week and how people dealt with loneliness. I was also talking about ethical non-monogamy. And I also want to point out, just in case motherfuckers are actually paying attention to these podcasts and not just like clicking on like clickbaity little clips that I scatter around the social media webs, and like they listen to one episode. I was actually, from like just a vague view of like just a general view of the episodes, I was actually looking like or sounding like I was leaning more on the side of ethical non-monogamy, of like being in favor of ethical non-monogamy in the last episode. I actually specifically mentioned that I'm kind of identifying with 80% monogamy, 20% non-monogamy. And I want to call myself out because just two episodes before that, before I was just on a high horse in my last episode, basically talking about how spiritual people can't separate friends from sex. That was literally me 2 episodes before that, calling myself out, saying like, hey, maybe I am the problem, because I recognize like, wow, how is it that I'm like on this high horse? And I think what made it so easy for me to be on that high horse was because It just so happened to be a trigger question for other people as well. So maybe I didn't feel alone and I felt like I had some kind of, but no, I want to be clear. I'm putting myself in that bunch of the people. I mean, I can understand the difference, but I'm still one of those people who struggle with that, with having friendships with people without wanting to eventually become physical with them. Okay, just putting that out there. I'm not identifying as ethically non-monogamous or polyamorous or in any way, shape, or form. Not that anyone gives a flying fuck, but I know people like to call people out on their shit. So I'm beating you to the fucking punch, internet, or whoever hears this, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're hearing this from. But I also talked about in the last episode that that loneliness has been like a struggle for me as a van lifer. And I asked the question last week about how do people deal with loneliness. And I guess that's another reason why I'm feeling a little like mid to low energy right now, is because I was sort of navigating through that and just moving through those feelings, those wonderful, awesome feelings of loneliness. And it inspired the question for this week, which I'll get to without no further ado. God damn it, let me look it up. Okay, it inspired the question this week. I asked in one of my Facebook groups. It's a private group, so I'm not going to read their names or anything. It's called the Vanlife and Nomad Singles Group. It has about a little over 21,000 members. I'm assuming most of them are men. I have not read these responses yet, but the question was, what has been the biggest challenge for you in van life, either physically or emotionally, etc.? And okay, I think I did read them. I did read all the questions, but I didn't, unlike last week, I didn't turn off the comments because it only got like 34 comments this week. So I read through a lot of them and I noticed that it started off sort of softward. It didn't get into like loneliness until like maybe a third of the way down. And then once someone said loneliness, just like that, it just sort of broke. And then more and more people started saying loneliness. Of course, this is a singles group. And like we've already sort of discovered before, most of these van life singles groups, or even just singles groups in general, I'm willing to bet, are just predominantly men. So there is that. So hopefully we can find a nice balance of comments here. Let me read. So what has been the biggest challenge for you in van life? This male person says, recently it's been finding motivation to do things I should do instead of hang out with the pup and be outside all day. I have so many little projects I have to get done. No motivation to adult. You know, I fucking feel that. That's a struggle. There are many struggles in van life. Just for me, at least predominantly, like recently, it's been the loneliness. I would say not even recently, generally. Since I started, loneliness has been number one because, and it's just kind of always there. But what this guy said with finding motivation to do things I should do instead of hang out with the pup and be outside all day. Yeah, there's only so much outsiding you can do all day. There's only so much outsiding you can do in a day. So trying to do other stuff, yeah, that's a challenge. It can be a challenge. This other guy says finding parking near jobs without housing and finding jobs with an out-of-state address. I did a care reaction. I did react to these, some of them. That is definitely a struggle, finding parking near jobs. That's just like Van Life 101, everyone, that's probably one of my most asked questions from people. Where do you park? Okay, it's like, you got to kind of figure that out, like, day one. But he also said, finding jobs with an out-of-state address. Since when do they need to get your address when you needed to work? I mean, maybe they do, but I've always just put the fucking address of the nearest post office where I'll be getting my mail. Or really, one time when I first moved to Georgia, I put the nearest Walmart as my fucking address. And I told them, I was like, I live in my van, so I just gave you the address to that Walmart down there. And they're like, okay, we don't care. Can you start tomorrow? Like, I don't think they really give a shit. You can really put down any address. Like, if you're really trying to beat the system, like, sometimes you got to make rules up. Some rules are just kind of just made to be broken, okay? Some of them. But that is a struggle, though, once until you figure it out. A few more comments here. This one person, another guy says, I don't see any comments from women. Well, this one guy says, making connections that last and flourish. That's his biggest challenge, is making connections that last and flourish. It's hard when you're not sure you'll see a person again, much less a kindred heart. Yeah, it is. I don't know about it, though. Don't know anything about it. Let's see. This other guy says, the presumption that I'm in this by choice. Ask any economic refugee what hot and cold running water would mean to them. That's the biggest challenge, is that people presuming that I don't get it. That you're doing this because you want to? I don't get it. This other guy says finding work. Finding work is actually one of the least of my struggles. I've always been able to find work. I remember one time I was driving back from Chicago to where the fuck was I going? I was going to Sedona or Arizona. I was going to Sedona from Chicago, and I ran out of gas money somewhere in Oklahoma. And I parked at the Walmart, and I was like looking up jobs on Craigslist, and I got hired at the Domino's Pizza that's near Walmart in Oklahoma somewhere, Tulsa, Oklahoma, or somewhere in Oklahoma. And I got hired at that Domino's like instantaneously. Like, so finding a job is not hard for me. And I don't know I didn't show up to the job. I actually ended up, my sister ended up lending me some money. Shout out to my sister, cash go crazy. But yeah, finding a job has never been like a difficult thing for me. So that's great. I feel like, maybe you're just, I don't know, not looking hard enough. Can I get a girl to say something about what's the struggle for you? Okay, this other guy says, biggest challenge mentally, emotionally, and financially right now, it's everything breaking. The truck, trailer, me, and the dog all need repairs at the same time. Good grief. Oh, good grief. Hey, when it rains, it pours. Now you gotta fucking tough it out and see if you really want to do this. No girls comment. She says, lack of community. I'm on the quest to find a new place to settle down. Good for her. So she doesn't have community. That's a big thing, I think. You gotta have a community. I've been planning my roots here in Georgia for 9 seasons now. This has been the place. I've been here longer than any other place since I started Vanlife. I know I've talked about this before. Planning my roots. But community, they're kind of just scattered all over the place, it seems like. So hence why it gets lonely sometimes. Most days. I think this is a girl. That's a dude. But it's a nice answer. He says money. Like, if I had to do it over, I wouldn't have made almost any of the financial choices I've made over the last 4 years since I bought my first van. But it was a learning experience, and now I know better, and I just upgraded to a bus, so I'm doing it right this time. Good for you. That is another, I've noticed, like, where I've observed another van lifers, like, some of their biggest challenges is a part of, like, the whole conversion thing, and where they just put their money and their energy and focus in the initial months and years, and they've been just trying to claw themselves back out of it, or just, or get out of it altogether. It breaks people. Sometimes it breaks people. They're like, fuck, well, that was a waste of time. That honeymoon phase we talked about, right? Finishing my build, this other guy says. That's his biggest challenge. Civil commitment, another guy says. This one guy finally says, actually, it's loneliness. And then the next person, it looks like a woman. This is a woman. She says, I'm so lonely. Ended a 20-year relationship earlier this year in Tennessee with like 3 friends. I also have an element of fear. What's going to break? And I'm not too clever with that stuff. Then it's been so hot. I've sat in the dark van with loud blaring AC with my pups for 4 days solid. It's unbearable. But amidst it all, I journal everything I have to give thanks for. A lot. I'm looking to find a new base, so that's a great problem to have. Bless her heart. Yeah, that was it. And now we're getting into most people saying loneliness. This guy's trying to be funny, saying washing my dishes. Or maybe it wasn't. Sometimes that is a challenge. Washing my dishes is kind of a challenge for me, personally. But it's not like the biggest challenge. But if that's his biggest challenge, then, good for you, man. This other person saying finding isolation in the hills. There are people who their challenge is being alone, and then there's other people whose challenge is not finding a place to be alone or wanting to be alone, not being alone. So, yeah, other guy says money. This other guy says laundry. Laundry can be a challenge. I don't get it. Just go to a fucking laundromat. Respectfully. I'm just sorry. Sentimental post, but, I feel like maybe I'm projecting and I'm just being judgmental, but laundry if you live in your van, laundry shouldn't be a fucking problem for you. You gotta be able to support yourself. You can't just be a bum in the van, right? How are you paying for gas? So you have money, you know how to do your own laundry, right? Just do it. This person says, finding my next travel vehicle after motor blew on my last one, which means each job I now rely on other transportation and stays when travel for work. Saving up for new vehicle is a lot slower when recovering those expenses now. That is fucking tough. Oh, that was a girl, I think. Or you just have a unisex name. That was a girl. Yeah, I remember my first year moving to Georgia. Within 2 weeks, I got into a car accident. Y'all know this story. And then 3 months later, I needed a new freaking flywheel and an alternator, which was supposed to be about $800. And my van was immovable, undrivable for 28 days or 29 days. Basically a whole month, my van was parked at the Waffle House. I've made several Vanlife Diaries episodes about this. Go back and check them out. It was between September and October. All of September of 2023, I was depressed as fuck. Literally, oh my God. I was really fucking depressed. I was suicidal. I'm sorry if that triggered people, but yeah, it was a dark fucking time for me. And that was when I had my whole life with me, my whole van, but I couldn't go anywhere. I got into this lifestyle to feel free, and I never felt so unfree. It was a very dark time, and that was the biggest challenge for me, is just being able to save up almost $1,000 to get my car fixed. Long story short, it ended up being only like a third of that, $300 or something like that. And I didn't even need a new flywheel. He was like, oh, your flywheel's fine. You just needed to get the alternator and just bang it back into place or whatever the fuck they did. But it worked, okay? And it was only $400. So I'm really blessed, really grateful. It goes back to that karma. I don't know. Really dark time for me. I think I might have to go and reminisce on those episodes, because it really makes me really grateful for what I have right now. I'm really grateful that my car starts right fucking up, and that so far everything that I've needed to work on this car has been fixed, or at least paid for by the insurance company. So I'm really blessed. I'm really grateful, and I have a lot to be grateful for. I think I want to end it on that. I think I rambled enough. Did I cover everything I wanted to talk about? Should I read one more comment from this? I mean, there's challenges everywhere. It's just a matter about where your mind is, okay? Where are you to deal with it? I believe that I can handle anything because I hope for the best and I plan for the best, okay? I plan on me being in the best mindset, me being in the best place mentally, spiritually, emotionally to handle the worst shit. So I plan on that. I look forward to it. Thank you all for listening, and I'll see you next week.